What's up, everybody? It's Gino coming at you to break down UFC Orlando, Thompson versus Kevin Holland. If you have not done this, before I get started, please subscribe to my channel, hit the video with a like, and leave a comment of your favorite DraftKings play of the week. If you don't want to do all that, just leave me a letter. All this helps the algorithm, it helps grow the channel, and helps grow the community. So first we have Kevin Holland versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm going Stephen Thompson. I think there's a lot of value here at plus 135. They have matching records. Holland, he did fight a guy like Chimaev, but he got killed. So I can't give him too much credit for that. Stephen Thompson, on the other hand, he lost to Muhammad. He lost to Gilbert. I mean, he's lost to good guys. He's relatively low volume with no takedowns. He did get a lot of strikes in his wins versus Neal and Luque, but he's plus 300 to get a KO TKO. So him being able to land a finish here is what I'm thinking could have him score well. However, I think that the fight's gonna go under and somebody's getting a finish regardless. So I'm going all in on the fight, and I'm not overly confident on picking a winner here. So I am gonna go 50-50. Between the two fighters. Now you have Brian Barberena versus RDA. It's RDA or pass. I mean, RDA's got a ridiculous ceiling here. Could wrestle the daylights out of him, get a lot of takedowns. He went to round 5 versus Vazayev. I just think RDA's the pick here. I don't play $6,000 fighters, and so I'm going to go RDA by decision, and then it's going to be RDA or pass on DraftKings. All right, Matus Nicolau versus Matt Schnell. Don't mess with the $6,000 guys. Matus Nicolau, though, on the other hand, he has a 93% takedown defense and a decent sample size. He does lack overall volume for good scoring, and he has been finished both times in his professional career for losses. But I don't like the fight at all. I don't think that happens. I think it hits that over at minus 125, the over 2.5. And I just think this fight's not going to be entertaining and not score well. Tai Tuivasa versus Sergey Pavlovich. Now, Sergey seems to be the real deal, but my thing is Tui only needs to hit one of those shots, and he's got a KO. Do I think that happens here? No. I think Pavlovich just continues his bulldozing that he's been doing because, I know it was controversial with the Derek Lewis thing, but, I mean, it was going to be a slaughter either way. The under is set at 1.5 and it's minus 215. Love the chances for violence here. I got my finger on the all-in trigger, but I am definitely elevating ownership on both and leaning towards Pavlovich. Amanda Ribas versus Tracy Cortez. I'm going to have exposure to both. I like Cortez, and betting-wise, I kind of like that submission at plus 1,000. I mean, I think that might be a value. They both have stable scoring floors. That's why I'm at 80, 75, they'll do decent in a win. They may not win you a tournament, but they could help you get some in the green. So I will say I like them, but I'm not going crazy with either one of them. Kyle Dawkins versus Eric Anders. Now, I like Kyle Dawkins a lot because I think he could get a submission here. If you look at 2 of the 3 losses Anders has recently had, they've been submissions. He has a very spotty record. He does show takedown upside, so I'm hoping he tries to take Dawkins down and gets put in a submission and loses that way, preferably in round 1, because I like that plus 550 submission round 1 for Dawkins. So I will say I'm going to have a sprinkle of Anders because I think he's sporadic. He could get a finish and look like an all-star at some point, or he could just get destroyed and sparked and submitted, or just lose a decision where he's dominated pillar to post. So I say all that. I'm going to play both, but I'm going to be very heavy on Dawkins. Philip Rowe versus Nico Price. I'm all in on this fight. I'm on the dog. I'm picking Rowe on the money line. I think he's a killer. I think he can get a finish here. He's plus 330 to get a KO, TKO, plus 650 to get it done in round 1. And so I like Rowe. I like him at that money line price, and I think he could end up being one of my plus money guys for my little 4-leg parlay I run every week. So I do like that a lot. Nico Price, on the other hand, he's 3-3 over his last 6. He's been finished a lot earlier in his career. His striking volume is just okay, and he lacks volume to score well in a decision. But he could get a finish here. Plus 165 for him to get a finish. So I like both fighters from a DK standpoint in MME. Angela Hill versus Emily Ducote. I'm going Ducote or pass. I think that, Loopy played into Angela's hands last fight. Not to discredit Angela, she did a good job, but I just don't, I don't see that being replicated here against Emily Ducote. And even if it does, I don't see her scoring well enough. And I don't see Ducote scoring that well either. So I'm gonna be at moderate level on her, but there's always that possibility for her. You have Guida versus Holtzman. I'll go with Guida. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry, long day. I like Guida. I'm going dog or pass here, but light on the fight because I don't see either guy scoring that well. Guida is plus 215 to get a submission. He's the OG. He does have some takedown potential, but he's not very consistent across his fights. The over 2.5, the over 2.5, that's supposed to say minus 250. Sorry. But it's minus 175 to go to decision. And so I just don't like this fight from a DraftKings, but I will probably play Guida on a little bit of betting angles just for some value. Diakese, I'm going Diakese by decision. He's been leaning heavy on that wrestling. I think he keeps it going here. I think he destroys Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson gets fired after this fight. But one thing to note, Michael Johnson's had some success earlier in his career. So he could burn us and he could knock out Diakese, but I just don't see that happening here. Way earlier in his career, Michael Johnson actually knocked out Dustin Poirier. So, something to consider. Jonathan Pierce versus Darren Elkins. It's going to be Pierce or pass. Pierce or pass. Pierce is 9,500. I'm really interested to see which one of these higher price guys that I like goes under owned because that's who I'm going to leverage. The hardest, he's plus 300 to get a submission. He's got a 4 to 8 takedown upside. So like him, I can see myself smashing ownership on Jonathan Pierce because I don't see him losing to Darren Elkins. He's just not gonna. He's a better fighter. Okay? Yeah, that was a good talk. But Pierce is gonna dominate that. So he's one of my favorite fighters on the card. We have Valdez versus Levy. There's another dog here. I'm going Valdez to get an upset. It's his 3rd UFC fight. They're both similar records, and they're both relatively unknown. Kinda. Levy does have some experience on, in terms of UFC, but not that much. So I like Valdez. He's got the knockout versus Patrick White. He did lose the TKO to Favola, but Favola just did that to somebody else who was pretty decent last week. So, I just think Valdez could be continuing to get better, and I think at plus 160 versus a guy like Levy who's still trying to prove himself, I like the value there. So I'm going to go with Valdez. We got Rojo versus Francis Marshall. I'm going Marshall. I'm elevating my ownership on both fighters, though, because I think either way this fight will probably score well. You have a plus 200 submission for Marshall, who's 8,800. He's plus 475 to get it done in round 1. The over is set at 1.5, and it's minus 185. All 6 of Rojo's most recent wins have been finishes. Somebody's getting finished here. Yes. I'm definitely elevating my owner on these guys because, granted, the wrestling, the accumulation of volume, that's what scores well. But if you can get one of these guys at these prices to get an early finish and score over 100-some points, they could take you far. Especially if a $7,400 Rojo hits, but I think Marshall gets the win here. All right, Wergay versus Estela Nunes. Nope. No Estela Nunes. No. I don't fight $6,000 fighters. That's from back testing and just looking at data. I try to trust the math. Wergay, on the other hand, I do like her on the money line. She could be a little parlay piece because I think she's a rightful favorite here. I know women's MMA, I've heard a lot of people making money off of betting dogs, but here, Wergay's plus 500 to get around 1 KO, TKO, which tells us there's a high chance of her dominating Estella Nunes. So I want to have in on that action. If she can do that, again, she's another one that I like the chance of ownership leverage. Sorry, I got a message on Discord and it distracted me. So that is it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am in the Discord. We are running a bunch of promotions on DFS Army. Hit the link, sign up, use DFL Gino to get 10% off. Right now we do every sport and we're crushing it. I want to say this past we have a millionaire winner. Somebody won the Million Maker in football, and then somebody won the $1 million game in Showdown, I think last week. So feel free, hit me up, and also I'm on Twitter. Thanks for hanging in there with me, and good luck this weekend to everybody.